What's up, everybody? I just finished Scavengers Reign, and I just have to make a video about how it proves that AI can't create art. It can only imitate it. Nature is universal. There is nothing that is unnatural. Earth has been destroyed multiple times in the past millions of years, and it's bounced back every single time. This is a quote from Charles Huettner. He's one of the creators of Scavengers Reign. Now, Scavengers Reign is a special series, and it's not special because of its story or because of the characters or because of like the direction or the sound design or any of those things. I mean, those things are all great to like varying degrees, but it's not why it's special. The reason that Scavengers Reign is special is because it's the evidence that AI can never produce original art. I've watched over 2,000 movies. I've seen all kinds of stuff, planets, all the stuff. I've seen it all. Things like the most creative, most like out there kind of stuff that comes to mind. It was like stuff like Fantastic Planet or like Gondahar, where it's just like, I've never seen this stuff, which is very much like Scavengers Reign. It's like, I've never seen these things. The issue with most of these types of things though, is that they end up relying super heavily on like sexual imagery as part of the world to grab the viewer, to make things interesting, or they'll lean really heavily into like the psychedelic stuff in order to keep the viewer engaged, and it feels cheap. And I'm going to get into that more in just a minute, but as I was watching Scavengers Reign, I was like, what is this? This is so like, what else is like this? And very few, if any, movies were coming to mind. One of the big movies that did come to my mind though was The Dark Crystal. Their originality was second to none, and I think that it takes a lot of work to not fall into the different like creative cliches and to literally and genuinely create authentic, original ideas without falling into certain trappings that we see way too often when it comes to like this type of like out there like psychedelic. The thing is, it's not psychedelic. One of the things that I loved was one of the creators, Joe Bennett, said, he was asked this question almost directly through Reddit, one of the AMAs. They asked like how like about psychedelics and like how do you come up with the ideas and stuff. And what's cool is that Bennett just straight up says, making animation is such a sober experience. You don't need to take drugs to come up with cool ideas. It's truly not a part of our process. And I just think that like, for me, I mean, it feels like, it just feels genuine and it feels authentic. And I feel like I feel sort of alone in this like idea. I know that I'm not, but I feel where it's like the drugs are so prevalent and it's like, you've got to do this, like you open your mind, yada, yada, all this stuff. And it was to see something so original and to see something like so like heartfelt and just so much dedication and work going into something that is so like, whoa, I've never seen this before. And when it feels like in a world where everybody's like, you've got to do all this, blah, 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 open your mind, like I said, and it's like, it's the only way that you can create stuff. And I'm not saying that like those things might not help you create, but it's cool to me to hear a guy and a group of people working on this project talk about like, it's not what we like. It's fun to come up with it by yourself. It's fun to like exercise those muscles and to communicate with one another and talk about it and like come together. Like that's the thing. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm getting off on this tangent, but I guess I'm just gonna go with it, which is drugs are inherently like isolating. They make you look within, they make you feel within, and like that's good for whatever different reasons. But when it comes to like collaborating and working together and listening to one another and communicating clearly what like you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you want, your wants and your desires, a clean, sober mind is so much stronger. It's so much more beneficial, and it's cool to see a project like a 10-episode series get pushed forward through a bunch of sober-minded people that are like, we just work together. Like making animation itself, like to use his words one more time, which is making animation is such a sober experience. You don't need to take drugs to come up with cool ideas. Like you can already come up with the cool ideas. I just think it's rad, honestly. And now, so I know this video is about AI, like that is the main idea. So sorry about the tangent. And I mean, like if you disagree or agree with me, I mean, like I would love to hear your comments down below. Like how wrong am I? How right am I? I mean, let's start a conversation. I'll be down there. Subscribe while you're down there. Patreon.com/Austin Kohler. You can get different perks over there. Letterboxd.com. You can also, Austin Kohler is my name. You can follow me over there, see what I give this movie and many other movies and TV series. Real quick, so to lead it more into the AI stuff, okay, so Joe Bennett, another thing that he was talking about, so he was talking specifically about a scene where we see a creature's life cycle, and what he said specifically about it was like, you don't need to understand everything that's going on, and like your interpretation of that scene specifically, but then the entire series itself, it doesn't matter, even if it's not accurate to what the creator was thinking, it's just as important. And I think Hayao Miyazaki has the same idea, and I love that idea of like the viewer is involved in the process. And now obviously it's the consumption part of the process. It's the watching it and it's the analyzing it. And leading into that, talking about now, this is the AI part. Thanks for hanging in here as long as you have. I appreciate you. Let me go on a little bit of a tangent, but there's a scene. It's behind me. So this scene behind me, there's these two main characters. Now, this is a little bit of spoiler. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. This isn't that big of a deal if you haven't, but for those of you that have seen it, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So in this scene, there's two main characters, and they're in this forest. And in this forest, like you'll see, is there's all these giant orbs. You don't think much of it, but as they're going through it, you learn that what these orbs do is that as different animals, creatures, whatever in this world and on this planet, as they go through these different forests, these tentacles come out from beneath these orbs. And what they do is they have a needle, essentially, they stab the different animals and creatures, and they take a sample. And after a certain amount of time, after it has grown or whatever, it's born, essentially, this copy of this animal, but it's like zombified. It's a zombie monster bastardization of the original thing. And what's so interesting about this idea, I don't have no idea if what they were thinking, right? But this was my interpretation of it really just came. So the way that these animals, or the way that like the zombie works, the way that this thing works is it has to go and find the original. It has to go and find the original, and it has to kill it. It has to bury a hole, it has to bury it, and it has to kill it. And when it does that, it can thrive and it can flourish. It creates another forest. But once it kills the original, then it can survive and it can live on. And I just thought that this was the best analogy of what art's relationship with AI. AI art can only survive by copying original work. But not only that, the AI, the copies, the only way that it will truly survive is if it's able to kill and bury the original. Because once it's dead, then it can continue to make garbage and continue to make more zombies, more zombie crappy art. But if we, the viewers and the consumers of media, if we don't buy the zombie, right? If we don't buy into the AI slop, the garbage, and we support original work from original creators, the AI will die and the forest can't continue and it can't spread the disease, the AI art disease. I thought it was so, I didn't think about it until I just was so like just consumed by the show that I just was like, wow, it's so original. AI could never do this. That was the original thought. And then as I thought about it more and more, and then the scene came into my mind, I was like, that's it. Like, that's exactly how this works. So, I mean, like, I just had to say something about it. And like, to the handful of people that are going to see this to the end, do your part. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be AI to help here and there and whatever, but the arts, like the humanities, like they're ours. They are the human side of us. And we shouldn't support art copying and stealing and creating these zombies of the originals. We need to support the originals whether or not we totally like it. I mean, I didn't think that Scavengers Reign was perfect. There was issues that I had with it. I didn't super love the story itself. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. But there's things that I would change here and there, but that's not the point. The point is, you got these group of just dedicated, super creative individuals came together and they made this awesome awesome series, and like we should support it and we should push for it and we should push against AI copying and stealing stuff like the Dark Crystal or like Scavengers Reign. Thank you so much for watching the video to the end. I really appreciate you sticking around. I drop new videos every single day, so I will see you tomorrow. See ya.